On October 4th, 1918, in the Argonne Forest, France, under friendly fire from the American artillery, American Major Whittlesey's platoon of Troop 77 was surrounded by the German troops and separated from the rest of their troop. Whittlesey requested a ceasefire from the American artillery and sought assistance from the American artillery by sending carrier pigeon Cher, communicating the location of Whittlesey's troops as well as the information that they were shooting at their own soldiers. Cher-Ami's successful mission brought assistance from Troop 82 to the Lost Battalion and surrounded the German troops. The usage of carrier pigeons as a communication tool during this World War I battle allowed the American troops to push through the Hindenburg Line, breaking one of the Germans' most heavily defended outposts and shifting the outcome of the war. The topic that we will be talking about today is how Cher-Ami, a carrier pigeon whose name means dear friend in French, saved the lives of over 190 soldiers during World War I on October 4th, 1918. The Meuse-Argonne offensive started on October 2nd, 1918, close to the end of World War I, when French and American soldiers led a charge into the Wired area in the Argonne Forest, France. Major Whittlesey's men were to lay claim to Hill 198 and eventually break through the Hindenburg Line, which was a German defense line that used the natural landscape of the forest. They were met with fierce German counterstrikes that caused the French and part of the American troops to retreat. Troop 77 only realized when they arrived at Hill 198 that their French and American allies had retreated. They were surrounded by German troops when Major Whittlesey made the call to hold the point instead of retreating. While they were holding the point, Whittlesey attempted to send carrier pigeons, because of their inherent ability to locate their nests, to the American artillery, to communicate their location, but none of the pigeons made it through the battle. On October 4th, 1918, due to the lack of communication between the troops, the American artillery attempted to shell the German troops, but accidentally fired on Troop 77. Upon receiving the fire, Major Whittlesey sent out their last homing pigeon, Cher-Ami, with a letter that states, "We are along the road parallel to 276.4. Our artillery is dropping a barrage indirectly on us. For heaven's sake, stop it." Cher-Ami, while she was flying back to base, was shot multiple times in her chest and leg. Her leg soon fell off during her flight. When she arrived at the American artillery, the letter was hanging on to her stump leg. The American artillery was able to locate Troop 77 and stopped firing on them. On October 7th, 1918, they launched their final attack against the American and French troops. It proved to be unsuccessful as they were soon surrounded by Troop 82 and were able to break through the Hindenburg Line. The Meuse-Argonne offensive lasted 5 days and nights in total. Cher-Ami received the Croix de Guerre medal for her service and later died from infections related to her bullet wounds. She was taxidermied and put on display in the National Museum of American History. The short-term impact of the American artillery breaking through the Hindenburg Line was that this caused the German army to take a large blow to their power, and gave the Allies the upper hand in the war. The German army could no longer use the natural advantage of the forest, and they could not conserve their troops anymore. The long-term impact was that with the new power gained in the battle for the Hindenburg Line, the Allies were able to defeat the Central Powers and win World War I. Cher-Ami saving the lives of over 150 soldiers and playing a part in winning World War I ties into the theme of communication in history, because were it not for Cher-Ami, the message would never have been received by the American artillery, and it is likely that the Hindenburg Line would not have been taken. Major Whittlesey was able to communicate their location and save his troops from certain death, thus allowing the soldiers to continue fighting and win the battle.